South Africa's marking Women's Month in August, an annual commemoration of the 1956 Women's March against past laws. More than 20,000 brave women challenged apartheid's oppressive past laws that restricted black women's movements and rights. Similarly, today, women are confronting lingering gender stereotypes and biases in male-dominated fields, reshaping and inspiring progress. One such woman making her mark in the mining industry is Kanyisa Msayi, Operations Performance Analyst at Rosond. Welcome to On Point.
Hi, Juliet. Thank you for having me.
Many would say you're very brave to enter a male-dominated industry like mining. What attracted you to mining in the first place?
It was not necessarily an attraction to mining, but more into geology. I enjoyed geography at high school. I had a particular interest in climatology and geomorphology. And when I got to university, I pursued that in taking geology. I took geography as well. I wanted to take environmental science, but I couldn't take all three of them. But my affinity was in the earth sciences. So after university, I got an internship in a mine underground, and I haven't looked back since then.
What challenges in the male-dominated mining industry has shaped your leadership approach?
I think it's small things. It's being aware that, women need to be represented. There's a lot of things that in the industry that I'm in are insignificant to men, if I can say that, but to women, they're big things. So it's being cognizant as a woman and asking questions where things might feel, a bit uncomfortable, providing things as simple as bathrooms that are lockable for women, change houses for women so that women can feel, safe and secured. And having PPE, it's something small to other people, but having PPE that fits, shoes that fit, that are designed for women, overalls that fit women, that even when you go to work, you can do your work with not wearing oversized clothes. So those things, they make you, when you see a woman that is uncomfortable, you already know what could possibly be the reason, because you've almost experienced some of those things at one point or another.
How has Rosond's technology empowered you and other women in mining roles?
So the Women in Mining Forum has raised that even though there are women roles or positions in the mining industry, but there is a huge gap in core mining roles. So Rosond's take on that has been to have women operators. And by doing that, so drilling really is mostly I would say a physically intensive activity. And so that does put women at a disadvantage to do the job. But Rosond has invested in technology that has automation and things like rod handling. So such activities would have immense physical strength. But now that that activity has been automated, women are able to be operators and run an entire drilling crew without that advantage, if I can call it that, of biologically male.
What I find quite interesting having this discussion with you now is that you're not, from what I can gather, you're not trying to say, hey, we're going to compete with men. You're saying, let's do the same work, but provide us with what we need to achieve the same things. We are women, we are different, but give us that technology and those tools to empower ourselves and to achieve similar things to what men possibly would in the mining industry.
Spot on, Juliet. We're not trying to be men. Actually, being women is our superpower, really. We bring a different perspective to a lot of things, and our lived experiences are different from those of men. So even in leadership positions, our leadership is not going to be the same as that of men.
How do you tackle lingering biases in mining? Because you must have a lot of that.
Yes, there are. But we are moving forward. It's a progressing industry. We're not there yet. But the women that have come before us really have set the table for us. There is space for us. We have a voice. I mean, considering that the ban on women working underground is something that happened in the 90s. I mean, a lot of us who have worked underground, that thing would never have happened. So I think a lot of these things are a transitioning mind shift change. My experience, for example, underground was not as bad because I was in a space where I think that transition in the men that I worked with had already happened. So men were more accommodating and men were respectful towards us women working with them.
That's really good to hear. But how do you mentor young women to build confidence and succeed in mining or the science, technology, engineering and maths fields?
I think women are already pioneering a lot in the field of, especially like things like your chemistry, your biological sciences. In mining, there's women, but I think there's a huge gap in engineering. I think maybe it's mostly a stereotype, if I can think that. Maybe people think that engineering is impossible, but I mean, women have shown that they can do it. So I think it's just slipping into that because we do have engineers in other industries. It's just that in mining, I think we are lagging behind as women in engineering. So I think that's where people need to just trust the process. There are women who are there are women who succeeded. So just know that you have support. There's a lot of forums now that different mining companies have that are supporting women. For example, here at Rosond, we have a mental support platform. So we know that just besides the physicals, there's also the psychological situation that comes with working in the mine, the demands of the work, working in remote areas like we do. So we have that support that is an addition to just the physicals and the tools that you would get to be able to do your job efficiently and effectively.
How do you balance your career and personal life? And not just referring to the mining industry, but in general, how does a woman balance her career and her family life?
It's difficult, Juliet. I can't say there's no formula to it. Some days or some weeks you have a plan and you'll stick to the plan, but life doesn't work like that. But I think it's just important that as women, we take the time to pause, to reflect, to have time to ourselves and not feel guilty about just having time to self, time to reflect, and time to enjoy the things that make you as an individual happy, besides the career, besides the family, besides the friends. Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting to us today. You certainly are such an inspiration. Well, that was Kanyisa Msayi, Operations Performance Analyst at Rosond.